The times they are a-changin'. For years, the Los Angeles metro area has relied on police to keep things safe, but now, the city is turning to an innovative and unconventional way of making its metro system safer, by paying people to use it. That's right, this video will be all about the LA Ambassador program, how it can save the city a tiny fortune, and why it might reduce emissions. Hi, I'm Nathan. Just like zebras, I believe that we're all safest when we stick together, and this is Save Money, Save the Planet. Now let's talk about money. The pay for an ambassador is advertised as starting at $20.49, so let's assume that they all make that much. Let's multiply $20.49 by 40 hours per week and multiply that by 52 weeks per year, which gives us an annual salary of $42,000 per ambassador. But just how many ambassadors do we need? According to this agency profile on the Department of Transportation's website, LA Metro has 198 light rail vehicles and 68 heavy rail vehicles. That's 266 total. Let's assume that we want enough ambassadors to put one on every other vehicle 24 hours a day. This all adds up to the ambassador system costing $12.6 million for the light rail and $4.3 million for the heavy rail. While $17 million may appear to be a large sum, it pales in comparison to the $150 million contract that the LA Metro currently has with the LAPD. Obviously, transit ambassadors cannot perform the same functions as LAPD for every single event that may arise, so we cannot assume that the $150 million contract will be reduced to zero. But what if we lowered it to $100 million? Then we would just be paying $100 million for LAPD, another $17 million for transit ambassadors, and that would free up $33 million for other purposes. It's amazing what $33 million could do. Instead of constantly complaining about how dirty our stations and cars can get, we could be using this money to get them cleaned up and looking brand spanking new. Now that would be something. Who's with me? You may be wondering why anything like this has an impact on safety. Aside from a few high-profile crimes, metro systems are actually generally safe, but they don't feel safe. I realize that's a bold statement, but I do have solid data to back it up. It's all going to be in an upcoming video about how taking the LA Metro to work is actually safer than driving. If you don't want to miss out, hit the subscribe button. In the meantime, here's an example of what I mean when I mention transit not feeling safe. Recently, I got on my Metrolink train to return home after work when I noticed a lady sitting on the floor in the bike storage area. She was talking to herself and avoiding eye contact with everyone around her until she stood up and walked to the front section of our car. She then started shouting and making loud banging noises while messing with the ADA ramp that was stored over there, until she eventually returned and sat back down on the floor in the bike area. This is exactly the type of situation that can make everyone in that car feel worried and uneasy that they might be stuck in a small space with someone who could attack them at any moment. But then the train attendant passed by, noticed that the ADA ramp was out of place, and he immediately confronted the lady. He informed her that he would have to escort her off the train to ensure the safety of the other passengers if she continued to vandalize train property. This immediately made everyone on the train feel much safer because we were now alerted that someone with authority was prepared to take action if the situation were to escalate. This is important because surveys like this one demonstrate that 2/5 of Americans now believe that public transit is unsafe. If transit ambassadors could persuade half of those people to use public transportation, annual passenger miles on the system could grow by 20%, or 392 million miles. If we presume there to be an average of 1.5 people per car, we may be replacing approximately 261 million miles driven by cars which would emit 105,000 metric tons of CO2 per year. So the city of Los Angeles can use transit ambassadors to save money while also making the transit system feel safer. That added security could encourage more people to use the system, lowering the amount of pollution in our city. Or perhaps a more concise way of saying it, we could save money while also saving the planet.